Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today at the City Council meeting. Thanks for being patient, all of you that are here. We've had study sessions since 5:30, so we're running just a little bit behind, so thank you for being patient. So we'll go ahead and start. We're going to go ahead and start with the invocation, and that's going to be by Deacon Brian Walsh from St. Anthony's Church, and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. And for all of you that are willing and able, if you can please stand.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, City Council members, and all present here, let us pray. Almighty God, we come before you in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, asking your guidance upon this City Council and all who serve here. You tell us in the book of Proverbs, where there is no guidance, a people fall, but in an abundance of counselors there is safety. Grant to these City Council members the grace of wise counsel. Give them the ears to hear one another and hearts open to truth. You command us through your Apostle Paul, let everyone be subject to governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. We pray that all here who govern may govern as your servants, knowing that all will answer to you for how we steward the authority you have entrusted to us all. And Isaiah cries out to us, learn to do good, seek justice, rescue the oppressed, defend the orphan, and plead for the widow. Grant this council the courage to pursue justice, especially for those who have no choice, the poor, the unborn, the elderly, the stranger among us. And let them and all of us present here remember what Jesus said, whatever you do for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you do it for me. We ask your protection upon this city and all its people. Please strengthen our first responders, bless our families, watch over our children, and guide this council. And may all our works be done for your glory and the good of all your people. We ask this in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Deacon, and thank you, Vice Mayor Badillon, Mayor Pro Tem. Okay, so next on the agenda is the roll call. Adriana, if you can please accept for the record that the council is all present.
So noted.
Thank you. And next are the minutes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move to accept the minutes of the City Council study session meeting of May 4th, 2026, the council regular meeting of May 4th, 2026, the Planning and Zoning Commission of April 2nd, 2026, the Planning and Zoning Commission special meeting of April 23rd, 2026, and the Arts and Culture Commission meeting of April 16th, 2026, the Airport Advisory Board meeting of December 23rd, 2025, the Airport Advisory Board of March 24th, 2026, and as presented. That's it.
Second.
Okay, our boards have been very busy. Okay, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor, well, is there any other discussion on the minutes? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries on the minutes. Next item are the claims.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move that we approve the claims report from April the 28th, 2026 through May 12th, 2026.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. The meeting agenda approval. Are there any changes to the agenda? Larry, any changes?
Madam Mayor, staff would request that we remove item G11 and G12 from the consent agenda.
Okay. Anything else? Anything else from the council? Okay. We can get a motion to approve.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move to approve the meeting agenda as amended.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, next is this consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine matters and will be enacted by one motion and one roll call vote of the council. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or member of the public so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence of the agenda. Is there anything else? I know we pulled 2 off. Is there anything else that anyone would like to pull off the consent? Okay, no one from staff, anyone from the public? Okay. Motion.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on the consent? Okay, if we can get a roll call vote, please, Adriana?
Councilmember Rimmel?
Yes.
Councilmember Dugan?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards?
Yes.
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Councilmember Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Badillan?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Adriana. Okay. So we have G11 and G12. Chief, are you going to go through those individually, or?
I can do them at the same time if that's
Okay,
okay.
sure.
I think they're very, very similar.
Yes, okay.
If you wouldn't mind your microphone. Okay, thank you.
Sorry. Madam Mayor and Council, I'm here to speak to you about a resolution to award a contract to Hughes Fire Equipment. As you know, Hughes Fire Equipment is the vendor that we use to purchase fire engines up in Phoenix. The fire engines actually come from Pierce back in Wisconsin. The first resolution is to purchase a 2029 Pierce Velocity ladder truck. That'll be at a cost of $2.4 million. This purchase is being done through the city's vehicle replacement program. We are purchasing this on a Sourcewell contract. This will be replacing the current 2007 ladder truck that we have that is out of service, sitting over at Fleet waiting to be sent away. As you know, the ladder truck is something that we use. It's becoming a lot more needed in the community, given that we're having a lot taller buildings being built and more taller buildings being built. The reason this was pulled, I'm pretty certain, was because you guys wanted me to talk about the time frame. I think some of you have heard this before, so I apologize for repeating myself, but during COVID, the fire engine manufacturers kind of used that, as, in my opinion, as an excuse to extend lead times on fire engines. This particular lead time on this ladder truck is 33 months. So we're buying that ladder truck now, and we won't receive that ladder truck until late 2028 or 29. It's a problem. It's a industry-wide problem for the fire service. Congress has actually had some hearings and brought the 5 big fire engine manufacturers before them to talk to them about this, to try to get some resolution to this. I think you also know these Pierce fire engines, and all fire engines for that matter, they're built by hand from the ground up. They literally start out with a frame and build the entire fire engine by hand from top to bottom. And they go into, when you go to Pierce, they actually have lanes where all these fire engines are, and they move along an assembly line, and you're basically put in a queue. That's how they're able to time when and approximately when your fire engine will be done. They're pretty accurate. The last one, they timed it, and it was right within 2 weeks of when they told us it would be ready. There's 3/4 of the shop is fire engines, and then the other probably 15% is ladder trucks, and there's probably 10% are specialty vehicles like hazmat, technical rescue, command vehicles, and stuff like that. It's an enormous place back in Wisconsin. The second resolution is for basically the same thing, although it's a pumper. It's a 2029 Velocity pumper, similar to the same packages we've received before. I think you guys will remember, especially the mayor and some of the other folks that have been around for a while, we used to pay $600,000 or $700,000 for a fire engine. Well, the price tag on this one's 1.432894, so basically $1.4 million for a fire engine. This purchase is being done through our developmental impact funds. Both of these purchases were approved by you guys back in July or June when you approved the vehicle ordinance 3467. So this is the second time you guys have seen this. Same exact thing with this one. We're purchasing this through Hughes up in Phoenix, but it is a Pierce fire engine that'll come from Wisconsin. We're using the same Sourcewell contract, and incidentally, that Sourcewell contract is good until 2029. This fire engine has a 28-month lead time on it. I will say that occasionally what happens is when stuff's in the queue, a department will change their mind, or they may not have the funding, or they may have a different legislative body that approves it and then decides not to approve it later. So sometimes something will fall out of the queue and it'll move you up a few months. But right now, this is 28 months, the ladder truck's 33 months. Both of these apparatus are 15-year apparatus, 10 years on the front line, 5 years as a spare. That's about what I can tell you about these. What questions do you have for me?
Thank you, Chief. Any questions? Sean? Oh, did you have one?
Cool, okay. I just got a couple quick questions. You mentioned 33 months or 28 months, to have it actually come back to us. How long are they actually, do you know how long it actually takes once it's queued or started, that it takes to complete it?
Generally, it takes about 8 or 9 months for them to actually build them.
To actually
The
build it?
problem is you're in the queue.
Right.
Waiting,
You're
you're basically waiting in line like at Disneyland.
Correct.
And then when you get up there, then you're on the ride. The ride's 8 or 9 months.
8 or 9 months. And then you mentioned the old truck is sitting out there ready to go. Where's that go to? And are we getting any money back on that?
I don't handle that.
Okay.
That's handled by, that's handled by Public Works. I think they send them to auctions or they find places to sell them. We've been trying to sell this ladder truck for a year.
Okay.
There's not much market for
For
this
used.
particular type of ladder truck.
And they get
And
used a
it
lot.
doesn't work very well. It was, in my opinion, it wasn't a great purchase, but we lived with it for the last 18 years,
Right.
so.
Okay.
But it's sitting over at Fleet, ready to go.
Okay.
When
Just
I was
curious.
over at Fleet today, I think they've gotten rid of some of the vehicles over there. There was a lot of vehicles over there, so it's a process they have to go through to get rid of them.
Right. Okay, thank you.
You mentioned Disneyland. Do they have a front of the line pass?
Fast pass.
It's too bad they don't, but yeah.
But my real question was, do they require a deposit, a down payment, a certain percentage at?
We've gone through different programs. We've done programs where we prepaid for a discount, and then we've done other programs where we pay when it's ready. The last time we checked, we looked at the prepayment program, and it really wasn't worth it. The money was better saved here in the city than it was sitting deposited with them over the. When it was a 1-year lead time, it was worth it to do it. Now that it's a 2.5 to 3 year lead time, it's not worth it to prepay.
Okay.
In our opinion, and we ran that by finance and the manager, and they all agreed with that. So we are not prepaying on this.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Go ahead, Brent.
Just to kind of follow on Bob's comment, so what does it require us to get into the queue? Do you have to make a payment at all to get in the queue? So let's say if you know that you need a fire truck in 2030, is there a way to get in the queue in 6 months so that by the time it comes around, we actually get it when we need it, or?
No, there's no way to do that. We've been discussing this ladder truck purchase for, I get it. We don't print money here.
Right.
And I've struggled a little bit, and I've talked to the manager about this, is that I'm asking you guys in 2026 to approve a fire engine that's not going to be here for 3 years. I don't know this, but some of you won't be on city council in 3 years. So it's a difficult thing, and we've struggled with it, but this is This is our only course of action if we're gonna get a new fire engine and a new ladder truck. We can't get a bump in the queue, although we don't have to make a down payment. We're a longstanding customer of Pierce and Hughes. We say, here it is, we sign the contract. And that's how you bump up in the queue. Somebody signs a contract with them, and then they pull it and say, hey, we can't afford it, or our council's going a different direction, or we have a new council. That's how stuff drops out of the queue and you move up.
Okay,
We haven't ever done that, but,
I guess that was my question, is if we needed the truck in 2 years, is there a way to get in the queue
Quicker.
to quicker, so we have it on time?
There is
I want to make
not.
sure that you're not slow on getting a truck when you need it, I guess.
no, there is not. Everybody wants their truck now.
Yeah.
If there was a secret way to get ahead of the queue, we would. There just isn't.
Okay.
Okay, any other?
Chief, just real quick, I know it's been about a year and a half that we talked about this a little bit. I believe I'll sit on that. And I know that price has changed.
Absolutely. This price changed from when this RCA was submitted, we knew there was a price change coming on April 25th, but we also knew that this wasn't going to go to council until May 18th. And we had to suffer through a raise in prices just because of that 4 weeks. But yeah, they've gone up significantly.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to date myself, but I remember when we bought fire engines for $400,000.
Yeah.
Now it's $400,000 for a rescue.
Yeah, and I just bring it up. If we delay it, the process, the price is going to go up again.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like even our firehouse, our new firehouse, which we love. Of course, that price went up because we delayed it a little bit. And so, I'm so thankful that we do have it in. I know it's a lot of money, but we're talking about a fire truck, and they are expensive. But anyways, just wanted us to be aware of that.
Thank you, Matt.
And the reason I want to pull these, Chief, is not to delay it by any means, or just so people know how much these things cost now, how long it takes, and that we are planning ahead to get these trucks. We can't just decide to go buy a truck tomorrow, you know, and we know we're going to have new fire stations by this time. We're going to need to stock them with the right equipment. So thanks for doing that. And I
We
just
better
wanna-
put a couple more on the agenda then.
Yeah. I said it. Thanks, you got me. I left that one softball to you. But yeah, it's just important and how much these trucks cost. So, and we can't, hard to get parts though too, right, for them once they,
It's not that difficult to get parts. The problem is we have to get parts from them.
yeah.
And, you know, our shop keeps what they can on the shelf, God bless them, but this stuff's expensive, and you don't want to keep something on the shelf that you may not use.
Yep.
Right.
And also important to note, I think, for our management and our council is that we pay cash when we buy a truck because we budget for it. So we're not financing these or anything. When we pick it up, we write
Correct.
a check and it comes to us. So good planning, and I just want people, and there's a lot of people here tonight, so it's good that people get to hear how much these trucks cost, because I just didn't want to go by on the consent agenda and people say, you just approved that truck for 2.8, $1.5 million? Like, no, we've been working on it for a long time, so.
Yeah, and it's a complicated process. We actually, when they're just about done, actually go back and literally go over the entire thing with a fine tooth comb to make sure that we're accepting the apparatus and the pump, characteristics of the pump, and they drive well and everything, make sure it's perfect when we get it.
All right.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get the resolution for the first one, Adriana.
Resolution number 5911, a resolution of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting a proposal from Hughes Fire Equipment, Inc. for the purchase of a Pierce Velocity ladder truck, authorizing the expenditure of public funds, and authorizing execution of a contract with or purchase order to Hughes Fire Equipment, Inc.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move approval of resolution number 5911 as presented.
Second. Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, if we can get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Rommel?
Yes.
Councilmember Dugan?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards?
Yes.
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Councilmember Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dillon?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, and then a resolution number for the second item.
Resolution number 5912, a resolution of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting a proposal from Hughes Fire Equipment, Inc. for the purchase of a Pierce velocity pumper, authorizing the expenditure of public funds, and authorizing execution of a contract with or purchase order to Hughes Fire Equipment, Inc.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move that we approve resolution number 5912 as presented.
Second?
There's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, Adriana, if we can get a roll call vote.
Councilmember Romo?
Yes.
Councilmember Dugan?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards?
Yes.
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Councilmember Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bedell?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is the public comment section. So the Casa Grande City Council values citizen input. When called, for those of you that did fill out a speaker card, state your name and address, speak clearly into the microphone, and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. In fairness to all speakers, please do not exceed your time. In accordance with the law, the City Council cannot respond to or discuss items not listed on the agenda, but may direct them to staff upon the conclusion of all public comments. So I do have a couple speaker cards. I'll start with those. If you are here for the public hearing, which is item L1, you can wait and speak during that public hearing. So this is going to be just overall public comments. And I'll start with Barbara Sundust, but if there's anyone else that wants to come up and speak, you're more than welcome to. So Barbara, you know the drill, right, Barbara?
I know the drill. And I practiced. My name is Barbara Sundust, and I live at 1273 East Cordova Avenue. My plea is the same as last time, the need for a 24/7 cooling place and also an affordable shelter for elderly women. However, tonight, I would like to say a gigantic thank you to the citizens of Casa Grande who make an amazing difference in our community. There are 6 churches who do laundry love for the homeless, elderly, and needy families. We are part of a national organization whose motto is love, dignity, and detergent. We do the laundry twice a month and have gone from about $500 6 years ago to about $1,900 a time. That means twice a month, it's $1,900. My point is that this wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for the generosity of so many everyday citizens in our community. A huge thank you to Rick Wilson and the Casa Grande Elementary School District for their donation to Laundry Love. He and his helpers give every bit of their recycling money to various city services or organizations, including Laundry Love, Seeds of Hope, St. Vincent de Paul, food banks, and animal shelters, I think. I will not stop begging for help for the unhoused and needy, because that's my calling. But also know how grateful I am to all those who support our many service organizations. Thank you to Rick and the elementary school district. Thank you to the Elks, the Lady Elks, the Catholic Daughters. Thank you to individual donors. You make it possible for us to be part of the Casa Grande, you make me proud to be part of the Casa Grande community. I met Rick about 2 Fridays ago and thanked him for his amazing generosity. So he gives these organizations, we've got $2,000. He gives all his money away. Anyway, he said I should spread the word so that people put the plastics and the tin cans and aluminum cans so that they can work harder and give more money away. So that's what I have to say. But I was also, my last comment, besides thank you, is that I think God's giving us a weather reprieve so we can find a 24/7 cooling place. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the council? Hi, Nancy.
Good evening, thank you, City Council. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to be here tonight. I had a meeting, but I am able. I come to you tonight.
Can you give your name and address for us, for the record? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Nancy Wood, 513 East Beckel Road, Casa Grande, Arizona. It's just been a very stressful day for me today. I'm not very happy. The reason I come before you tonight is part of the issues that I have with animal control for our city. You know, I've been an advocate for wildlife and animals throughout the city. I've spent many hours advocating for the burrowing owls and doing the rescue that needs with the development that we've had in the city. And I've also included any dog, cat, or animal that I run across that needs my help. In the recent past year, I've had a cat that's come around my property that is a stray. It's had health issues and was pretty in bad shape. Found that ended up that it looked like it was really failing, and reached out for some help to try and see whether I could get it help. And the fact that an animal that's sick in the city could cause problems with other animals and pets that we have in our city. And I contacted animal control numerous times and never got callbacks. Even went in and gave them information and didn't get callbacks. And you know, I continued to try and take care of this cat for basically the last 6 months. It's not one that was friendly. And I got it to finally get close enough to me that it trusted me enough that I was able to catch it Friday, and called animal control to get it in because it was health-wise a risk for the whole community being sick. And they came and got it, and I found out, I even left a message that please call me back. I had offered to help with medical if it needed it and other things like that. And I found out today when I went down there after they had not called me back that when they got the cat back, it got out and then got out of animal control. And so now it is lost in a place it doesn't know and is sick and will probably die. And I find that reaching animal control is impossible. All they do is voicemail and they don't call back. This is not acceptable for our city to take care of our animals in our city and keep it safe. I have just a minute. The other thing that is coming up is that Vista High School is having their graduation, and I hope that the city can look out for the owls along Arizola, that they don't get run over in the berms, that the people in the city will look out for that and be careful. I am no longer going to be volunteering for stuff. I've kind of had it. This was really hurtful after spending 6 months taking care of this animal, and to have this happen, and just not acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Nancy, we can have, like, Stephen, do you want to follow up with her? Our deputy manager will follow up with you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public comments and move forward with the next item on the agenda, which is item L1. So we will start. James, are you going to start with this one?
Yes.
All right, L1.
Actually, I'm going to be presenting both L1 and L2
Okay.
as one presentation. And then you'll have an opportunity to vote on them separately.
Okay.
So L1 and L2 in front of you this evening pertains to villages at McCartney Ranch. We're going to be talking about DSA 2500133, which is technically L2, the PAD amendment and zone change. And then also DSA, it's supposed to be 2500134, the minor general plan amendment that is necessary in order to consider the zone change. But this is involving approximately 75 acres located at the southeast corner of McCartney and Pinnell. I first want to give a little history about McCartney Ranch, and specifically McCartney Ranch 2. From 2005 to 2021, McCartney Ranch 2 was a PAD zone that ran from Pinnell to the west to Treckle to the east, south of McCartney Road, with the El Paso Kinder Morgan gas right-of-way being its southern border. During that time frame, there was 36 acres entitled for commercial use at the hard corner of McCartney and Pinnell. And then south of there was just over 23 acres that was designated for multifamily, allowing up to 8 dwelling units per acre. It was a medium density entitlement, but it had extended south to the El Paso Kinder Morgan gas tract. If it were to build at its maximum of 8 dwelling units per acre, that area could yield about 188 dwelling units. Then in 2022, there was a flurry of activity in this area. So all but the 34-acre corner was zoned to R2, which had conditions of record entitling all but that 34 acres to be developed for single-family residential with primarily 45-foot wide lots, 5,000 square foot minimum lot sizes, with the exception of some parcels to the south that bordered the El Paso Kinder Morgan gas tract. There's an area there to the south, which I'll discuss in greater detail, but they have more restrictive standards. But the 34 acres of PAD that is currently in place is entitled for 11 acres for commercial use and just shy of 23 acres for multifamily, allowing up to 25 dwelling units per acre, which if it were to develop at that density would yield about 568 total units. So what's being proposed now is to expand that PAD to about 75 acres. And I'm going to walk through the changes with you, but it would be basically incorporating some of the property that is presently zoned R2 into the PAD. There's about 38 acres, 38.7 acres proposed for commercial purposes. So just about 3 acres more than what the commercial acreage was from 2005 to 2021. And then there's 36.1 acres proposed for residential land use. Parcel 1 would have a density of 20 dwelling units per acre, but parcel 5 is not proposed now to be multifamily. It would be lotted into single-family lots. So counting both parcel 1 and parcel 5, it would at a maximum yield 556 units, but down from the most recent approved and currently approved PAD. And I do want to note that with parcel 5 proposing a small lot single-family development, only 15 acres is entitled for multifamily. So it's a reduction in acreage and in density for multifamily. What's really driving this change is activity that is proposed on the area encased in the black square known as Commercial A. It's a 27.8 acre area at the hard corner because Walmart has interest in acquiring that acreage to develop the second Walmart in the community. Along with that, there's 8 pad lots that would be proposed lining the Walmart along Pinnell and McCartney for additional commercial opportunity. With what's known as a big box being proposed for that area, the developer considered adding some additional ancillary commercial uses along the Pinnell frontage, areas known as Commercial B and C, to speak to the fact that Pinnell is a state route, and so that there wasn't residential development immediately abutting that state highway, but then to serve as a buffer between the commercial uses primarily that would be seen at Commercial A because it's probably the most intense of the area. It's at the hard corner. You're going to have what's known as the big box there, the Walmart. They were proposing the residential area as a buffer between it and the remnant of McCartney Ranch, which is now all zoned R2. Everything in white will still stay R2 zoned. So parcels 1 and 5 are primarily intended to work as a transition from the single-family areas to the commercial areas closer to Pinnell and McCartney. And I also want to add that there's an extension of 2 collectors proposed through the area. There would be Carroll Avenue, which would separate Commercial A and Parcel 1 from Commercial B and Parcel 5. And then Palm Avenue is also proposed as an extension, which would separate the single-family area that has yet to be constructed there along the south. It would provide a collector road separation between that area and the Parcel 5 and the commercial. And then it would also be used as a separation between Commercial B and C. Here's a perspective also that I wanted to show looking south. So Commercial A is just shy of 27 acres. On the other side of McCartney, which you see on the screen there, is the Fry's Marketplace. That's approximately 21 acres. So it's just about 6 to 7 acres larger than the Fry's Shopping Center, just to put the proposals in perspective. Commercial C, I want to spend just a moment to talk about because it's the area closest to the Coyote Ranch neighborhood, which sits to the south of the El Paso Kinder Morgan gas tract. Because that's a commercial area closest to Coyote Ranch, there has been some changes between what was presented to Planning Commission and now. What had been in place at the time of Planning Commission was a 25-foot maximum height for anything built within Commercial C, as well as a 45-foot minimum setback from its south and east property boundary, because keep in mind there's proposed R2 just to the east, so there's a buffer that helps with the single-family development just beyond the commercial area to the right or to the east, as well as to provide a buffer to the neighborhood to the south. But what has changed is gas stations are now prohibited in commercial area C, as well as car washes. And then I do want to speak to the fact that the reason for the 25-foot maximum height limitation in Commercial C is it speaks to the fact that the most southern single-family lots planned within the area not changing in the area that's currently zoned R2 have a condition of record restricting those homes to single-story and 25-foot height. And then I do want to just call into perspective the El Paso Kinder Morgan gas tract a bit. So it is 310 feet sitting north of Coyote Ranch. It's owned by Kinder Morgan or El Paso Gas. And so it's not an easement, it's owned by that gas company, and they have a lot of limitations in terms of how that area could be used. And so everything that we're speaking tonight lies north of that. But to put things into perspective, Pinnell Avenue, State Route 387, is 250 feet. And actually it's a little bit narrower in most places, but at its widest through there, it's approximately 250 feet. So the gap between Coyote Ranch and what we're proposing this evening is further away than what lies on the other side of Pinnell Avenue from Coyote Ranch. And then this is another perspective looking west or northwest and how that easement sits with relation to the PAD. I'm not finished walking through the changes, but I'm almost there. So I talked about the commercial quite a bit. But now back to the residential. Parcel 1, which sits just to the south of McCartney to the east of Commercial A, is a 15.5 acre area, which does have the flexibility in the proposal to develop as individual lot development for single family. However, the request does allow it also to develop as a multifamily product at a density not greater than 20 dwelling units per acre. That would yield a maximum of 310 multifamily units. But things to keep in mind, the development would have to provide a minimum of 20% open space. One change that was not discussed at Planning Commission was putting a story cap to it of 2 at 28 feet. But when you're looking at, regardless of that density of 20 dwelling units per acre, when you have to provide for the required parking, for the open space of 20%, whatever retention drainage needs there are, and you're limited to 2 stories, it's likely that it wouldn't develop at the 20 dwelling units per acre. It would likely come under. However, anything's possible with the right design. But some examples of a 20 dwelling unit per acre or less 2-story multifamily development are shown here, both on the top and bottom. And then with regard to parcel 5, it is now proposed not to be multifamily. So that's another update from when Planning Commission heard this in April. Parcel 5 is a 20.6 acre area, but it's being proposed as a medium density single family lotted parcel for detached homes. Multifamily land use would be prohibited here, and it would provide a minimum of 40-foot lot widths at a minimum lot size of 3,200 square feet. So it provides for some smaller lotting than the R2, which sits to the east and to the south, but it is there to serve as a transition between the commercial uses and the rest of the single-family area, while maintaining a single-family development in that it would be lotted and it would provide for-sale homes. It too would be subject to 20% open space with a maximum of 2 stories and 28 feet. And I should say too that 28 feet is the maximum height for the rest of the R2 area sitting between it and Treckle, with the exception of those lots just to the north of the El Paso gas line, which is limited to 25 feet. Some examples of what a 40-foot wide, 3,200 square foot lot would look like are provided here. And then I have a separate slide. Of course, those trees look pretty young in these pictures, but this is an example of homes being accommodated on 40-foot wide lots of a similar lot size in a typical plot plan. And a typical lotting of a neighborhood that you see to the right. So I gave an overview of the zoning, but in order for the zoning to be considered, we also have to talk about the proposed amendment to the Casa Grande general plan. So the existing land use designation in this area is community corridor with neighborhoods surrounding it. And the proposal is to expand the community corridor general plan designation to include what you see to the right. The reason for the request is that the neighborhoods category, the yellow that you currently see, is predominantly intended for a lower density, single-family residential type development pattern. Neighborhoods does allow commercial development on sites not greater than 30 acres, and it does also allow multifamily at certain site sizes, but what the community corridor achieves is the allowance for there to be the totality of the commercial that's being proposed on the site, the 37 plus minus acres, and then the ability for parcel 5 and parcel 1, should it develop as single family, to have a greater than 4.5 dwelling unit per acre density, which neighborhoods limits single family development to that density. It can't exceed that. And this just captures what I just spoke about. However, just some other details about the community corridor. It is considered the most appropriate for mixed-use zone districts, and it does have a lot of character elements that could be incorporated as part of that PAD as a whole. When looking at general plan amendments, there is some specific goals that I want to speak to. Within the community corridor category, one of the goals talks about promoting diverse business, retail, and office uses. The action step that speaks to that is encouraging mixed-use commercial and retail to create a higher density of uses along major corridors. With both McCartney and Pinal having interchanges with I-10, it does make sense to entitle that area with a mixture of uses where that corridor can be of benefit and vice versa. And then another goal is to promote Casa Grande's identity by creating gateways at major entryways to the city, creating development opportunities for larger retailers such as Walmart. And another action step is to connect gateways to trails as designated in the regional trails plan. So I bring this up simply because a later slide will get into it, but there was the initial idea to run a trail through the El Paso Kinder Morgan tract. However, they do not have a policy that allows that. So the city's gas line trail, as it's known, will actually run through McCartney Ranch. So even though the majority of that area is not changing zoning, a lot of it is still in the R2 zone. The part that is being proposed as expanded PAD shows the incorporation of that trail through the PAD as it continues through the R2 area. The applicant did provide justification for all of the criteria that is evaluated for general plan amendments, and that can be found in the staff report. And staff did recommend to Planning Commission approval of the general plan amendment, and on a vote of 4-2, they did forward a recommendation for council to approve the general plan amendment. But now on to the PAD amendment, which I gave you a pretty good background to. The criteria that gets evaluated to determine if a PAD amendment is adequate are identified below, and I want to talk about the highlighted items here. With regard to the relationship to surrounding uses, this is a fairly blank slate. You know, it's a lot of acreage sitting between Pinal and Treckle that's undeveloped. I do want to speak to the fact that on the west side of Pinal, you have a string of commercial uses. And then on the north side of McCartney, you have Fry's Marketplace. But then, of course, as you go more east, you go into a residential area. But the area with the most concern would be the existing Coyote Ranch and Cornerstone Ranch neighborhoods to the south of the Kinder Morgan El Paso gas line tract, in that it has the potential to be the most impacted by what gets proposed on the other side of that gas line. And so I did already speak to it, but that is why Commercial C, which is the area closest that's changing, does have the specific development restrictions that it has. I do want to note that the rest of the commercial areas, that which sits north of Palm and Carroll, its maximum height would be 35 feet, which is typical for commercial zones. But Commercial C would be limited to a maximum height of 25. And it does again have a buffer of 45 feet from its south boundary and from its east boundary. So when you think about it, no building in parcel C can be closer from the nearest single-family property in Coyote Ranch would sit 355 feet away from any building in Commercial C. And then this also does help show what I was speaking to about the trail. Instead of a trail running within the Kinder Morgan gas line tract, there are plans to run a trail from Treckle over to Pinell, and that trail would be used to serve as a buffer between the 65-foot wide lot area to the east and Commercial C, and it also serves as an additional buffer between commercial activity and that gas line. With regard to conformance with city zoning, we do have a site plan and a plat under administrative review. Of course, action cannot be taken on it until the general plan and zoning has been amended to allow this type of development. But we do have a site plan for parcel A. And what's proposed in the PAD does meet the various standards by which PADs have to be reviewed by. I do want to talk about the fact that within parcel A, there would be a total of, based on the site plan, we know there's 212,000 square foot of total retail space. The anchor store, Walmart, is approximately 182,000 square feet. In our city code, that's enough square footage for this to qualify as a large single-use shopping center. And for large single-use shopping centers, they can only take place in PADs, and there's a set of criteria that have to be met unless exceptions or departures from those standards are sought. And so the applicant did request a series of departures from those code standards, which Planning Commission did agree with, and as part of the recommendation to council, on a vote of 4-2, we're okay with these exceptions. But really, for the large shopping centers, there's typically a requirement for a specific minimum distance away from a shopping center and the property lines, and so they're basically asking for an exception to that. For example, there should be a 60-foot wide buffer that should be provided along all property lines that abut residential, and they're proposing 45 feet as an example. And then the staff report dives into the other exceptions that are requested, but essentially the justification is that the adjacent residential that it's providing a buffer from is within the PAD itself, and it's also at a greater than a traditional single-family density, and so therefore the justification should be there because it doesn't inherently have to provide as much buffering for something of a slightly higher intensity. In terms of the impact of the plan on existing and anticipated traffic, there was a master traffic report provided by Y2K Engineering for the review by both ADOT, Arizona Department of Transportation, and the city traffic engineer. After various reviews of the report, it is approvable. However, minor modifications are still being discussed between the applicant and the reviewers. All site plans and plats within the PAD would require their own traffic report and traffic impact analysis. So this master report would need to be approved prior to any development. There is a recommended condition that was considered by Planning Commission, and it's being carried forward to City Council with regard to traffic, which is developers of any portion of the PAD that requires construction of the east leg of Palm, so any portion of Palm east of Pinell, will be responsible for contributing to the cost of the traffic signal at Pinell and Palm unless the signal has already been constructed prior to their development. With regard to open space or public land dedications, as part of the zone change, there's also an ordinance condition that would require the dedication of right-of-way if dedication of right-of-way is necessary for a public project. However, there already has been right-of-way dedication specifically for McCartney, and Pinell, the state highway, is of adequate right-of-way width for improvements to take place associated with what the traffic report demonstrates needs to be improved to accommodate the trips generated and the traffic generated by this proposed development. Here is an aerial view of the recent McCartney Road improvements. What's interesting, if you look closely here, you can see the gray curb lines that are being added to show its widening. McCartney is designated as a principal arterial, which requires 140 feet right-of-way width. And I just wanted to, and it's, don't study this too hard, but just to color in basically the future improvements, it'll be 2 lanes in each direction. But this is just a quick and dirty visual to show you just how it will generally be modified. If you look too closely, you'd be like, that's not wide enough for a travel lane, but it's just to give you an idea that it would be 2 lanes in each direction with the center median. Regarding the notification process, it did start back in late October. As part of the city code requirement, there was notification mailed to owners of property within 1,000 feet of the PAD boundary with the intention to gather feedback to be relayed to the applicant to address concerns as part of the review. Within that notice, there was a web link provided with access to the plans and the PAD guide. There was an email that was received from an owner within Coyote Ranch with concerns about the proximity of the expanded commercial area near the neighborhood. And then once this was scheduled for public hearings, there was additional public notification, including notification in the paper and 2 public hearing signs. And then when public hearing notification was mailed to the same owners of property, we did start receiving more correspondence from the community with concerns primarily regarding the multifamily. But there was other concerns such as the traffic increase. There were some comments regarding the design of the commercial. And at Planning Commission, that was really made known that there were a myriad of concerns. And although Planning Commission did forward a recommendation to council to approve the PAD and general plan amendment, it was also advised that there should be and there was a neighborhood meeting basically in the works or underway. And so that didn't take place until after Planning Commission, but before City Council this evening, the neighborhood meeting was held on April 30th. It was held by the applicant with Coyote Ranch and Cornerstone to hear their specific concerns and to get an idea of what could and should be modified. And as a result, between that meeting and then just further discussion with the city, the primary changes was eliminating the multifamily land use in parcel 5. That's the area closest to the Coyote Ranch neighborhood, and entitling that for an area to be lotted as a single-family detached neighborhood. And then stipulating that in either of the residential parcels, the number of stories would be limited to 2 at a height of 28 feet. And then the other significant change was adding some additional restricted, prohibited uses, or declaring certain uses that would be prohibited in that commercial area C. And then I do like to say, just kind of for more of the public benefit, because since site plans and plats are no longer subject to public hearings, regarding the next steps, and just to clarify some points, is should the general plan and PAD amendment be approved this evening, they would be on to site plan consideration and plat reviews, which are administrative. But items reviewed administratively are subject to public notification nonetheless, and it's sent to surrounding property owners. And we encourage the recipients of that public notice to be a part of the review process, to provide comments by, along with the other internal reviewers, so that all of those comments can be bundled and sent to the applicant, and with the expectation for the applicant to at least respond to what they may or may not be changing as a result of the input received. And if necessary, there could be a neighborhood meeting scheduled at the request of the planner. But I do want to clarify, though, that the zoning isn't just use. It also sets forth maximum heights and minimum setbacks. And so if a site plan were to come in or a plat were to come in and it's for something that exceeds the maximum height per the PAD or is sitting closer to the property line than what's stated in the PAD, or there's a deviation in the amount of parking that they're allowed to have, all those things would require an amendment to the zoning, which does still remain a public hearing. So just to clarify that. And so there would always still be public hearings if anything in the PAD changed with regard to a development standard as well as a use. So with that, I already mentioned it, but specifically with regard to the general plan, DSA 2500134, Planning Commission did move to forward to City Council a recommendation to approve the general plan allowing community corridor in place of neighborhoods. And that would have to be a separate motion, but also in terms of the PAD and zoning recommendation, Planning Commission also did forward to City Council a motion to approve on a vote of 4-2, a recommendation to approve the PAD zoning, subject to the following 2 conditions of record. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, James. Do you need a drink of water?
I'll sip while you're asking.
Thank you. No, really, thank you for that thorough presentation. And, just appreciate you going through all of the history and also just the process on how things work, because a lot of people don't really understand, and especially the changes with the legislature as far as not having public hearings. So that's not something that we want. We want public hearings, but unfortunately that change was made with the legislature. So now, like James says, moving forward, these site plans are going to come before, or they're going to be administrative approvals. However, we are going to continue to, reach out to the public. So we encourage people to give feedback before we approve all of those site plans. But I appreciate you going through that process, as well as the traffic analysis. We get a lot of questions on that, and also the gas, the Kinder Morgan gas line, and explaining that whole thing. So appreciate that. So we'll go ahead. I know the applicant would like to present also. Are there any questions from the council at this point, or are you okay to move forward?
I just had, can you go back
Sure.
to one of your slides that go back to the, where the zoning is at now with the acreage?
Okay, my screen went off.
Wrote it down.
You said the area where
Looks
it
like
showed
number,
the acre?
slide 2 and 3.
Okay.
I just wanted to get some,
No back.
go back one, nope,
Right there?
go back one more. So this was 2005, 21. Okay, and then where we're at now, so the original, and then go back So go one more slide forward, and that's what we have now.
Correct.
Okay. I got the numbers I was looking for, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, no
thank you.
problem.
Bob, did you have a question?
Yeah, and I think it's based on your third to the last slide. It's one that shows the community corridor, I believe, on top of the gas line.
Yes, that is good memory. That is correct.
Yeah. So does that affect the Kinder Morgan's rules on the gas line, or because we say it's community corridor? Because I noticed one of your other maps showed the trail
Goes right there.
running across that same section.
Right. So the trail cannot go through there for certain. It will be running through technically their commercial area C just to the north. But a little quick history as to why that zone categorized community corridor is that there was a time prior to the various changes in zoning to McCartney Ranch where that Pinell corridor in its entirety from north of Coyote Ranch was placed in the community corridor. And it was kind of irrespective of what zoning was there or how it was used, what type of easement was there. It was just if it fronted Pinell, it got put into the community corridor. And then there was a period of time where, with the request of the villages at McCartney Ranch that was approved in 2022, they didn't need to benefit from all of that Pinell corridor to be in community corridor, because if you remember, they scaled it back quite a bit, and they had a lot of single family sitting north of the gas line up to their PAD. And so they put it into neighborhoods, but they didn't have the ability to change Kinder Morgan's designation. Only Kinder Morgan has the ability to change Kinder Morgan's designation, or the city. It's kind of irrelevant though, because however it's designated in the general plan doesn't prevent someone from using the land how it's presently zoned. It would only be if for some reason the zoning needed to change to something, whether or not it was compliant with the general plan would prompt an amendment. And since Kinder Morgan's just in the business of gas, they don't really have need to change the general plan designation. Or zoning, I should say.
So would the trail end up running over Kinder Morgan's?
No. No.
So it would actually be a little bit
wrong.
north?
Yeah.
Yes,
Sounds like
Yes.
it is planned for the north.
Okay, so not exactly as shown, but
Kind of, that picture shows it.
Yeah.
okay, I think I understand.
Yeah. So it won't be in that 310, 350 area. It'll hit along the, come see that area
Yeah,
when it drops down.
more like,
So it won't be in that.
okay,
Yeah.
more like
I think
this
that's what
one
you-
that you're showing now. I got it. Okay,
Yeah, that
thank
other
you.
picture showed a little different. Any other questions now, or we'll go ahead
Yeah,
and move on?
I got one
Oh, sure,
quick one.
Sean.
Just real quick, James, we're going, or as we sit right now, we got 22.74 acres, multifamily, that's 560 total units. And we're going, proposed here, 15.5 acres as a density of 20 per acre. And how many units would be in that? I think I remember 300.
310.
310, okay,
Maximum
perfect.
Max,
310.
yeah.
That's it. And that was it.
Okay, we'll go ahead, thank you again, James, and we'll go ahead and turn it over to the applicant, CVL. So welcome, thanks for being here.
All right, good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Thank you for hearing our case this evening. My name is Julie Vermillion with the applicant CVL Consultants, located at 4550 North 12th Street in Phoenix. With me this evening is also representatives of the ownership with GDC. Thank you so much for the thorough presentation, Jim. Out of respect for your time, I'll try my best to skip over some duplicate slides. So you know where the site's located. You know the general plan and the zoning. He already did the comparison for you. So here's our site plan. This gives a little more information. You can see we have our large commercial corner A, B, and C along Pinnell Avenue. I would like to note that commercial C was in the last iteration of this plan, the 2022 portion of commercial C. It was intended for a water campus for Arizona Water. That would have been water tanks that could have easily been, 30 feet in height, and I know water tanks could be maybe 30 or 40 in reservoirs. So this 25-foot height restriction is an improvement from the prior approval and this commercial use. And we are limiting that to exclude car wash, fuel station, and convenience uses to be a little more friendly with the neighbors to the south. We're also restricting it to having no loading or delivery hours from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. After communicating with the neighbors, we know that that was something that was a concern. And then we also have a building setback that Jim mentioned of 45 feet. So that'll be 45 feet from the property line. That's where that trail is going to go through. It's going to be a 20-foot trail corridor within that 45-foot buffer. I'd also like to touch on parcel 5. So previously, when we first submitted this, we were anticipating the potential to develop it as multifamily. After discussion with the neighbors, it's clear that single family would be more amenable. So we decided to move forward with a 35-foot lot width. After speaking with council members Herman and Badillon, it was clear that a larger lot size would be more appreciated. So we're moving forward with a 40-foot minimum lot width. And that would allow for the products that Jim showed. So it's a very popular lot size throughout the valley and very popular with home builders right now. Again, that's a single-family detached product, so that's limited to 2 stories, 28 feet. So that's going to be a little more agreeable to the neighbors to the south. I'd also like to note that with this reduction to the 40-foot minimum lot width and the single-family detached, I mean, we would be lucky to lot this out and get 6 or 7 dwelling units to the acre. So this is a big decrease from what was initially proposed. We would estimate this would be maybe 130 lots or so once we develop it and make some room for retention. Let's see. Oh, while we're on this slide, I'd also like to note that commercial A is approximately 1/3 of a mile from the neighbors to the south, the Coyote Ranch development. And parcel 5 is approximately 1,100 square feet. So that's slightly over 3 football fields away from the Coyote Ranch to the south. So we have plenty of buffers here from those uses. I wanted to highlight these development standards that we're proposing. For the multifamily residential, of course, we're limiting parcel 1 to 20 dwelling units per acre, and we're explicitly stating that multifamily is not permitted on parcel 5. Again, we have that 28-foot 2-story limitation, and our buffer around, let's see, from arterial and collector roadways, it's going to be 15 feet for the multifamily. Single-family residential was not contemplated in the 2022 PAD. This is a new table that we're proposing specifically for parcel 5 and for parcel 1 if we were to develop that as single family. So this gives us a little more flexibility to propose single family on this PAD. Again, there's that 40-foot minimum lot size, that 28-foot 2-story minimum height restriction or maximum height restriction, and then we have 15-foot setbacks from collector roads and 25-foot from arterial for buffering around parcel 5 or parcel 1 should it develop single family. These are our commercial development standards. We have slightly different maximum height for A and B And commercial C, you can see A and B is 35. Commercial C is limited to 25 out of respect for our neighbors to the south. And we have that 45-foot buffer explicitly listed in the development standards. And this table pretty much reiterates that information. I would like to note that parcel 1, that maximum density of 20, would allow for townhomes, single-family attached or detached. That's all possible products that we could build on that parcel. And then parcel 5, again, is limited to single-family detached. Here's a detail identifying that gas easement that Jim discussed. So it's a combined 355 feet from Coyote Ranch to where the closest building would be on Commercial C. You can see how that's laid out in the elevation. You can see that 45-foot building setback on the right with that 20-foot trail corridor. It's going to be landscaped and it'll provide a nice buffer. I'd also like to note we have that 25-foot building height limitation, and then that southern boundary of parcel 5 being approximately 3 football fields away from Coyote Ranch as well. And this is just for clarification. It's just an illustration identifying, exactly how that would be compared to a football field. Hopefully that'll bring a little more clarity to the scale that we're looking at here. Just to touch on traffic quickly, I know it was mentioned as a prior concern. As we all know, the city is currently undergoing construction of the full width of McCartney Road between Pinal Avenue and the I-10. This development of McCartney Ranch was considered when those designs were under review and completed. So this has been anticipated by the city and it's been contemplated along with their improvement projects. And per city requirements, we had a traffic engineer prepare a traffic impact analysis that we will be following the recommendations of, and the city's traffic engineer has evaluated that analysis and approved it. As part of that analysis, we would agree to building that traffic signal at Palm Ave, internal subdivision roadways, dedicated right and left turn lanes as needed, and then a third northbound lane on Pinal in conjunction with working with the city on their projects. I'd like to touch on a few benefits of this proposal. Of course, we're establishing the zoning for this large commercial corner with plenty of opportunities for retail and restaurants and other services. Obviously, that would generate employment opportunities and job creation, facilitate growth in this area. Residential parcels 1 and 5, we plan specifically to serve as a transition between this new commercial development and the previously planned subdivision. So we believe that it's a appropriate land use all around. And then we're accommodating that El Paso trail easement, which is part of the city's master plan, to make sure that we have that trail connectivity throughout the site. This is just one last view, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Okay, any additional questions? Right now, we'll go ahead and open the hearing. And so, but see if you have any questions again, okay? Sure.
Just a quick one. How far did you kind of breezed over it pretty fast. You said 1,000 feet from Coyote Ranch to parcel 5, or how many?
Yes, so from that southern boundary of parcel 5 that you can see on the map, it's 1,100 feet approximately. So just over 3 football fields.
Just over 3 football fields. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. I do have 2 speaker cards, but again, anyone can get up. I do have someone that filled out gave me the instructions instead of their name. So if you have in your hand the actual speaker card, I don't have your information. So take a look at your card. But the first one I'll start with is Kurt Bauer. Hi there, Kurt.
Hi, how are you doing? My name is Kurt Bauer, 228 East Pebble Court, Casa Grande. Well, dear Mayor and member of the City Council and staff, I am writing to formally express my opposition to the proposed zoning changes for the development at the intersection of Pinal and McCartney. While my own residence is not directly affected, I believe this project is not in the best interest of the community. Although the developer highlighted potential job creation, increased tax revenue, the primary focus appears to be financial gain of the developers and the anchor store rather than the well-being of the local residents. During my interaction with the developers at the meeting on 2 weeks ago, I found the approach dismissive of our actual concerns. When asked if the project plans were finalized, the representative stated they were subject to change based on the requirements of future buyers. Furthermore, the current plans specify patio homes, which appear to be rental units in practice, not homes for buying. Significant concerns regarding light pollution, delivery truck emissions, and security for adjoining properties remain unaddressed. I urge you to take a stand against the corporate interests that do not prioritize our community needs. Please deny the request zoning changes to preserve the character of Casa Grande. We're kind of at a disadvantage when we're given this opportunity, which is a great opportunity. We met with the developers 2 weeks ago, and they gave us no further plans. They're saying we're just here to hear your concerns. Well, it's hard to come back here and express more of our concerns when we don't know what they're giving us. They didn't give us any changes. We've asked for changes, and they kind of stonewalled us. They said, well, yeah, we don't know yet. So this development is up for sale, obviously. So whoever buys it next might not want to comply with their standards or their outlines progressing. And the earlier speaker mentioned 360 feet. Is that 360 feet including the gas line and their pathway? Because their pathway is not going along the gas line. It appears to be going along a street and then meeting back up with the gas line. So there are 360 feet. I'm not sure what they're trying to get at. And for the noise pollution, they were talking about commercial C and not the whole project. That was my understanding. That's what I thought I heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Can the applicant just confirm a couple of things? First, he said that they weren't notified of the changes prior to tonight. Did I hear you? I thought that you sent out something to the HOA. Okay.
Yes, there
that?
was an email to the HOA with this updated plan that
Okay,
was sent
last
out
week?
in advance.
Was it last week?
The 11th. Around then.
Okay, okay.
7th.
Okay, and then there was another question that he asked about, can you clarify that 300-foot, were you asking about, does it go up to, where does it, yeah, can you explain this?
Yes, so that dimension is just for clarity on how far the building in commercial C would be. The closest possible building we could build would be 355 feet away from the northern wall of Coyote Ranch.
Okay.
So that distance, that expanse is between the northern wall of Coyote Ranch. That would include the gas easement.
Yes.
That would include the trail corridor, and along with that, the building setback.
The additional 45 foot, right? Is that where you?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I think it's important
Sure.
to note that there's a wall at the gas easement, or the gas line
Okay.
property, and then the trail is on the north side of the wall,
Right.
correct?
Yes, thank you for clarifying that.
Oh, yeah, there will be.
And that's-
You're
Yeah.
right, there's a wall.
And that's just at commercials, at the commercial
Just
lot
at the
C.
commercial,
Once
yeah.
you get into the residential next to it,
It goes up.
that
It's
trail's
going
not
up,
there.
yeah.
It would be the housing.
Okay, thank you. So I have, is there someone else that filled out a card that you may have taken the wrong side of it? Is there anyone that would like to come up and speak? Sure, come on up. Yeah, no worries. Come on up, and if you can give your name and address.
Kim Isom, Casa Grande, Arizona. P.S. I did not get this. Don't have a clue. I'm going to speak about, first, thank you for your divine patience for putting up with all my emails. I'm surprised you didn't all block me. But they all did come from the heart. I'm not going to stand here and go over every single opposition. The laundry list is too long to list. I will say this, though. We can all agree that that is one valuable piece of property. It's beautiful. That is our gateway. That's truly our gateway. I think we can all agree on that. I have this vision of it being picturesque, like Casa Grande Lakes, Koenig, Cornerstone, even Coyote Ranch. Why can't we do another Coyote Ranch? You have the power to do that. With that said, we're going to talk multifamily. We're oversaturated. You know, I went and visited 2,000 units last week. I put it in my second email. We're way oversaturated. They're not filled at all. Based on that fact, you know that Garrett specializes in multifamily housing. And I feel that they are exploiting our community by increasing the density exponentially. I gave you the numbers, what I went and saw. Not only that, they are also circumventing the assured water supply laws put into place by the Arizona Department of Resources. We have it there for a reason. Well, knowing full well, they know we only have one resource. It's our groundwater. But that's it. With that said, I implore you, please do not be fooled by this attempt to exploit our city for financial gain. I believe that we can find a more mindful developer that will work with us. They will work with the city to develop a more traditional neighborhood. Traditional neighborhoods. That's what I want. I know that's what we want. With that said, I'm going to ask you, please, go back. Tell everybody, go back to the drawing board. No, no, and heck no. We don't want any of this. No. Thank you with respect.
Thank you, Kim. Okay, let's see. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Oh.
It's taking me a while to get up there. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Debbie Yost. I live at 334 East Cornerstone Circle in Coyote Ranch. I've been a resident and a real estate broker here in Casa Grande for almost 50 years. First, I sincerely appreciate the council members listening to our concerns, the concerns expressed by my neighbors, both at the planning and zoning meeting and at the neighborhood development meeting that we had. I especially appreciate the removal of parcel 5 and the apartments from that. That shows a willingness to listen and be concerned about the citizens' concerns. However, I still oppose this project as presented tonight. James, you did a great job of giving us history on this parcel, and I want to review that for a second. From 2005 to 2021, this property was planned with commercial at the hard corner only of Pennell and McCartney. Then it was residential extending south toward the gas easement and west to Pennell. That zoning allowed for medium density, single-family homes at 4.5 dwellings per acre. That's about 10,000 square foot per lot, right? During that time period, most of the homes in Coyote Ranch were built, and these homeowners that are here understood that we were going to have single-family homes to the north, with the exception of commercial on the corner. In 2022, a pad was approved, increasing the density dramatically. I never was notified about that, and I can guarantee you the rest of the citizens that live in Coyote Ranch, if we had known we'd been here, we would be here at that point. We didn't. The proposal that you have before you tonight increases the density dramatically, even further, by proposing small lots and more apartments. 556 home sites, of which 310 can be multifamily. Did you happen to notice the ad that came out today from Agave reducing the 4-bedroom rental price to $1,600? We don't need any more. If you approve this tonight, we're looking at lot sizes as low as 3,200 square feet and 40 feet wide. How wide is this building? 35 to 40 feet, that's what we're talking about. We don't need that here. Parcel 5, 246 units, that's what can go on there. And I appreciate that they said that it could be rezoned and it could be single family. Come on, folks, we know they don't go backwards. If you approve this zoning with this density tonight, we won't see a smaller, larger lot sizes in the future. It'll stay that way. And in addition, the applicant is even requesting that you reduce the requirements for a big box store. I'll finish real quickly. Why are we moving toward tiny lots and congestion in Casa Grande? I understand they want a buffer between commercial and between residential. We have great examples between Florence Boulevard and Mission Royale. There's no apartments there. I respectfully urge you tonight to either deny this or table it and send it back for a design that more adequately reflects the wishes of the citizens of this town and the neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, did you want to say something? Go ahead.
Peter Encinas, 700 East Rodeo Road. So I live on Rodeo and Treckle, and I can only speak from experience to the situation. I grew up in a small agricultural town called Chandler. It was Chandler, yeah, man. You know, back in the day when you'd ride in the back of a pickup truck with no problem, no seatbelt, you know, it was just a small town. I mean, 202 freeway was Price Road. We rode quads and dirt bikes where the Chandler Mall is. And I've seen these changes, people coming to these meetings and saying, we don't like it, this is the way we like it to be, we love this city the way it is. But I can just, like I said, speak from experience to watch Chandler grow. I've been here 4 years now, and I love this city, and I love to see what's going on. And I know not everybody's always gonna be happy with the changes and the, you know, the multifamily buildings and stuff like that, but what's coming to it, if I look back on, or now, what Chandler is now, what it's become, what these changes, not everybody's gonna be happy, but it's a beautiful city. It's beautiful. I love going there to visit. My family's still there. I got family there in the downtown area and in Gilbert as well. But in the city, I just watched it to what it is now. You can go drive through there and see the beautiful buildings, the homes, the apartments. Again, it's not always going to be to everybody's liking. Not everybody's going to be happy. I understand the people at Coyote Ranch. I live right by you guys. I live down the street. But I think this is going to be a great decision if you guys do vote yes. Like I said, change isn't always going to be good. But I'm going off the experience of what I see my old city, what it turned into, an amazing, beautiful, powerful city with great leadership there now, leading it going forward. And we have great leaders here before us, and I believe that they'll make the right decision, that the city is growing, it's going in a new direction. And again, we do love Casa Grande, and like I said, it was the farming community used to be, but we're going in a different direction. And I think it's a good direction. Not everybody's going to be happy, but I'm coming here to tell you I'm for it. And so hopefully you guys will decide on this as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Sure, come on up. If you give your name and address, please.
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Larry Reed. I live at 240 East Pebble Trail in Casa Grande. I've been here for going on 2 years now. I love this town. Beautiful. What I don't like is this parcel 5 with 40-foot lots reminds me of what I see across from Safeway on Treckle and Cottonwood. Little tiny houses that they're not attractive. There's no room between the houses. They may be single family, but there's no room in them. That's not what we need here. I am not happy personally with the trail that goes down to the lower side of Commercial C. All I see in that, because my background in law enforcement, is problems. That has to do with problems with crud, litter, people sleeping overnight next to the bushes, jumping over retaining walls, whatever they are. It's just a mess. I would please ask you to take better consideration into this. Don't allow those single family homes that you can't even camp in, the size of the lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tom Isom, 183 East Cornerstone Circle, out at Coyote Ranch. They were talking about keeping the homes off of Pinal. Casa Grande Lakes has homes along Pinal. Coyote Ranch has homes along Pinal. Valago has homes along Pinal. I think it's a good idea. Just keep homes along Pinal. Like Debbie Yost said, there was only the hard corner there originally. And there were homes along Pinal. I don't think there's a problem with that. I think we should keep the homes along Pinal. I think we should keep, especially Commercial C, away from Cornerstone or Coyote Ranch. We only, like my wife said, we only have one source of water in this town. And if they're going to build tiny homes in Parcel 5 and they're going to rent them out, they're circumventing the assured water supply rules. And the apartments, we looked at them 10 days ago all around Casa Grande. There's 2,000 units going up. Either they've been built the last 2 years or they're going to be completed in 2027. That's 22,000 new units on top of all the other apartments that we've had for decades. And they circumvent the assured water supply rule. Single-family homes have to adhere to it. I just want to remind you of that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? No? Oh.
My name is Joe Yost. I live on Cornerstone Circle also. I've sold a few houses in my time. I've done some developments. Been in real estate for almost 50 years. In Casa Grande, I have never, ever seen multifamily as a buffer for a shopping center. If you can tell me something that multifamily is a buffer to a major shopping center, show it to me. The next thing is, when I was at these meetings, I have never heard P&Z nor City Council today ask the one question that everybody here has, and that is why? Why do we have to have multifamily when there was residential? Is it for development profits? Is it for the beauty of Casa Grande? Why? Why do we have to have more than that commercial corner? Give them that commercial corner. Give it, expand it. I mean, expand it over the multifamily. I don't care. But why do we have to have more multifamily zoning in Casa Grande? It just ask the question, why? Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions? Or questions, comments, I guess I should say. I know. Where have you been? On vacation?
Mayor, council members. Hi, Gloria Johnson Story, and I live at 1245 East Laurel Drive, and I also have property on Rodeo Road. I just want to point out our apartments are overtaking our city. For some reason, they put them all together in a cluster, and they start to look like a correctional institution went in there. But the other thing that I wanted to share tonight is, and I know I'll probably never live to see it, but I still want to protect my Rodeo Road. There's 408, I believe, apartments scheduled to go up on Rodeo Road. I don't know if you're familiar, but I'm not looking forward to it. I did work with the developer, didn't get everything I wanted, and I did get a little, but you can't plant a tree to hide a 3-story apartment. And guess what we're looking at after looking at our beautiful desert after all this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. Okay. Anyone else?
It is zoned already for multifamily.
Hello.
It's currently.
Hi, my name is Linda Stamper. I live at 261 East White Wing Court. When we moved in there, we checked to see what was to be there for the future. And we were told that there was going to be more homes like Coyote Ranch that would extend from the end to Fry's. We did a lot of checking on a lot of this. And like it's been said tonight already, that's what everybody there has expected. These people we have put money as an investment into something where we want to live the rest of our lives. This is not a community where you go and live for 2, 3, 4, 5 years and then you upgrade to another community. Our community is the upgrade. And we would like to keep that quiet, peaceful nature that we were promised. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? We'll hear all night, so you can come up if you want. No more? Okay. And the applicant, did you want to come and address a couple of these questions? Okay.
Thank you all for your feedback. We appreciate it. I just wanted to give a few thoughts. As mentioned, our site has a certificate of assured water supply. The single-family residential parcel, parcel 5, that is subject to that certificate of assured water supply. They are single-family residential detached parcels. They're not intended to be for rent. So they would be subject to that requirement. The example that the gentleman gave on Treckle is actually more of a for rent product, and it's a smaller product than what we're proposing here on parcel 5. So these are going to be 40-foot wide lots with setbacks in between the homes. And McCartney Ranch 2, I believe the smallest lot size is 45 feet. So it's not all that far off from what's already contemplated for McCartney Ranch 2.
What is the square footage of a house of that size lot, about approximately? I know it depends on if it's single or 2-story, but. The floor plans we have range from 1,900 to 2,200. Okay.
I would also like to mention that commercial C, there was a comment about it at that Pinal and Palm Avenue intersection. I would like to note that the communities mentioned do have a significant setback from Pinal Avenue generally, and commercial C is going to be at a signalized, it's potentially signalized intersection. So that's planned to have a future traffic signal, and it's planned to be fairly busy. And it's going to have commercial to the north. So we believe that having commercial at the southeast corner of that intersection makes a little bit more sense than having that right in your backyard as a single-family homeowner. We believe that that's a more appropriate use for this proposed development, knowing that we're going to have some significant commercial on this site. And I believe that that is... Oh, I would also like to note the reduction in multifamily. I know there was concerns about having that approximately 15 acres of multifamily still on here in parcel 1. I would like to note that the 2022 PAD had 22 acres of multifamily. So this is a significant reduction in multifamily. We're not increasing the multifamily, we're not increasing the density. We're actually restricting it, and we're adding an additional 2-story restriction to it. So you're not going to see the 3-story large apartment buildings. This is going to be 2-story, perhaps a walk-up, perhaps attached townhomes or something along those lines.
So it can be townhomes also?
It could be.
Yes.
Okay. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Okay, no other questions? I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing if there's no other questions. And I will take any questions, comments from the council at this time. Anyone want to, any questions or comments? No?
Got just
Okay,
a quick
Sean.
one for the applicant. On parcel 1, you mentioned that on parcel 5, it is assured water supply, that it's for parcel 5. Would that also apply if you put condos into parcel 1?
If we were intending to have a
Townhomes?
townhomes or something for ownership, I believe that would apply.
But your water would, okay. Perfect. That's all I was going to ask. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you make sure you had the water.
Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I just have a comment that it's not going to be very popular in this room tonight, but I do believe in property rights, and if somebody owns a property and they want to develop it, within reason, and within reason I mean by the codes and the statutes that are controlling that, I think they have the right to do that. And I will say what I have seen on this project, the cooperation and the willingness of the developer to make concessions, to allow it to fit a little better with the residents, I think is commendable. I can't remember a project when I saw this level of cooperation. So I'm impressed by that. Also, the comments that have been made about the apartments, we share your concern. There's a lot of apartments here in Casa Grande and more to come. The best I can do to defend that is that economic projections all around, including our community, is that apartment living is going to grow faster and faster. That's what people are going to turn to as they have now. The projections are that we're behind the curve, believe it or not. I know that's hard to believe, but that we're still behind the curve and we need to add some apartments to our inventory. The other thing that was commented on is that we have developments that are basically tiny houses. Those are compromises to apartment buildings. Instead of 2-3-story apartment buildings, the developers turn to that because they know that apartments are oftentimes not viewed favorably. So those neighborhoods that you're seeing are in lieu of apartments. They are built to rent. I know several people that have rented those because they don't really like apartment living. They'd really like a single-family residence, but they just can't afford it. And that seems to fit that little niche that they're looking for. So we may not always make decisions that everybody is happy with, but we do have the responsibility to do what's best for the community as a whole. And even though the Coyote Ranch neighborhood has voiced opposition to this development, I for one think it has flowed well and that the developer has done what they can to make it fit as well as possible. And I'll be voting to approve this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Any other comments? Sure, Matt,
I'll
go
go.
ahead.
It's no secret, I live in Coyote Ranch. Met with my neighbors at the HOA meeting, met with them here, met with the developers. It seemed that the biggest concern was parcel 5 when I met with the neighbors, and also commercial C. So when I talked to everyone, said no apartments at parcel 5, no multifamily, I should say. So we met with the developers. They said we do 35. Lisa, Brent, and I were in the meeting. Said no. They said we can do 40. Said okay. So those are single family homes. Those are not built to rent homes. Those are not, and they do have certificate of assured water. Right now there could be 568 apartments as it sits. With this new proposal tonight, there is a maximum of 310 multifamily units, and probably going to be less, depending on what kind of product they get. I remember last time we zoned this, we made sure that the houses directly to the north of Coyote Ranch were single level homes, so they're not going to be 2-story looking over the walls. Also on commercial C, convenience stores, car washes, anything that go, make a lot of noise, cause a lot of traffic for 24 hours a day cannot be permitted there. Additional setback. And we've got the 310 feet of the Kinder Morgan. And now where my house is, I live one house away from Pinal Avenue, and it is loud. I mean, Pinal's loud. There's no doubt about that. I live there. I choose to live there. Not complaining. That's where I live. What they're doing here is trying to put a buffer between the homes and Pinal Avenue. And again, we have many less apartment units, multifamily units, than what they could legally do right now as it sits. In addition, they're putting in a stoplight, which should help traffic on Pinal, because that's another stop there at Palm Lane from Rodeo, in between McCartney and Rodeo. Additionally, we're widening McCartney Road right now. You guys have all seen that. There's going to be more traffic. This is already a commercial corner. It's going to be commercial. It's already permitted right now, and corners they should mostly be commercial. Also, they're putting in a lane on Pinal Avenue. I don't think we talked about that too much, but the developer's putting an additional lane on Pinal adjacent to their development from, the south edge of theirs up to McCartney Road. And additionally, there's a wall in between the trail system that's in there. We have other trail systems like that, especially it's on Rotary Park south of Rodeo Road. Rotary Park south of Rodeo Road by the Circle K there. And we have a 20-foot wide gravel pathway or gravel trail that's part of our whole system that's going to connect someday once we get them all built. And it's been kept up very well, and it's a nice amenity to the community. So, I mean, the biggest thing we heard when I talked to my neighbors, which I'm looking at you guys right now, is parcel 5, commercial C, and and move. At one point, it was move parcel 5 as multifamily up to McCartney Road. Well, we got rid of a lot of the multifamily on this plot. So I think that's a win, and it's never going to be everything everyone wants one way or the other. And that's what we do up here. So we have to figure out how to make the best use of what we have and respect everybody, current residents as well as landowners that have this. So I mean, it's a tough one for sure, and it's very personal to me. And I care a lot about Casa Grande. I've lived here for 50 years. My whole life I've lived in Casa Grande. And people say all the time to me, well, I used to like how it was too, 25 years ago, 30 years ago. But we're a growing community, and what we can do is try to make it the best we can with what we got, and not, as Bob Huddleston said, we hear about apartments, we know about apartments. And I talked to one of my other neighbors, says, I'm against, me personally, not the city, this is Matt Herman, against making any more zone changes for multifamily. What we're doing here is reducing that multifamily use in this area right here, right by our home. By my home, by our homes, a lot of you out here. And that's what we can do. So I'm thinking this is a good use of it. Also, concerning Walmart, our Walmart in town is the 5th busiest in the nation, from what I've been told. In the nation, not in Arizona. So this will help take some pressure off of the other Walmart as well. And it's a lot closer to the north side of town where there's a lot of people, so. And I've heard Costco, I've heard other things, and Costco usually doesn't go not next to freeways. So just about that, because I know they tried to get Costco and it didn't work out from what they told me in the meeting. So that's my 2 cents so far.
Okay.
All right.
Becca?
I do appreciate that there is a reduction in the amount of acreage for multifamily. I think that, like Matt has said, that they've made some really good concessions with like the 2-story. I also think that Parcel 5 offers home ownership to people that may not be able to buy in other areas, or maybe for new home buyers, and I think that's important for our community as well.
Yeah.
And, I hear a lot about traffic on Florence. I live in Valago. My mom lives in Coyote Ranch. I drive all the way across town to go to Walmart, and that will alleviate some of the congestion that we hear about over there when we have more of those opportunities and options where we live in that area. I want what's best for this community. I think all of us do as we sit up here, and these are some good concessions. It's multifamily zoned already. They're reducing it, and they're also making concessions that someone else wouldn't have to make. And so I do appreciate that. And, I think that my daughter lives in an apartment, and I lived in an apartment when I started out, and I think it's good that we have options like that for people in our community. And, we hear that too, where there are a lot of apartments we don't need anymore. And we've talked about, will we approve new zoning for multifamily? Probably not. But right now, they're looking at changing it and listening to what you guys have to say and the concerns that you have as well. And I do think that this is a good thing.
Thank you, Becca. Go ahead, Brent.
I'll just echo a lot of the previous comments. The reduction from 568 units down to 310 multifamilies, I think is a win. That's 258 less apartments that we're gonna have. And then, I won't mention all the other comments they made, but then the other one I wanna talk about is commercial lot C. I know with the restrictions that were placed on it with this, if we don't change them, it's a water campus. And if you don't know what a water campus is, it's a fancy term for a well site. A well site is where they drill wells for water. They run 24 hours a day, and you will hear them all the time. There is no restriction that we can put on them and say you can only work 12 hours a day. Well sites run 24 hours a day. They would have tanks. They'd have all kinds of things. That's what's approved for it right now. I think going to commercial C with the restrictions we're putting on is gonna be much better than what we have currently sitting in that spot. That's all I wanted to add in.
Thank you. Anthony?
No.
And I'm gonna have to say that I echo, what my fellow council members have talked about. I don't wanna go through all the details, but I really agree with all the comments that have been made here. We, again, grew up here too, been part of this community and seen it change, and the market conditions have evolved, so it's changed. So I know there's been some comments that, 2021 even, what happened then, but things are changing, and we see the cost of living and the difficulty with people having to, find places to live, especially young people. I'm like you, Becca, I lived in an apartment. My daughter lives in an apartment. She's got her doctorate degree. She's living in an apartment. My husband and I lived in a 1,900 square foot home when we were first married. I was a professional, he was a professional, and we lived in a 1,900 square foot home. And so, yes, someone made a comment that the rent for a 4-bedroom apartment is $1,600, but what is the mortgage of a 4-bedroom house at this point? And so I think times have changed. I wish that, we can live on these big lots, like we did when we bought our homes. I've been living in my house for 25 years, the same house. And so I know that the cost of that house is very different now. But I just want people to really put yourselves in the position of starting out. I go to these employers all the time and visit and see who's working, the human aspect of who's working at Lucid, who's working at Kohler, who's working at Frito-Lay, and I see the people. And I see that, you know, what their salaries are, what their incomes are. They cannot afford a 3,000 square foot home. They are living in apartments. And I know people have gone to these apartments, but have you talked to those that are living in these apartments? Because I have. I've talked to them. You know, people are excited that they have so many options. We've done a housing study that has shown where we are with housing, and believe it or not, we're at 75% occupancy. Now, there's more coming in. We'll evaluate that as they come in, but those numbers, people are living in those apartments. I know you may not want to. I don't want to right now. You know, I like this space, but there are people living in apartments, and it's frustrating sometimes because of and I get it all the time, we all do, when people criticize and talk about the criminals that are living in apartments and the riffraff that is going to come into this city by people living in apartments. These are hardworking police officers, nurses, people working in all the stores that we shop at here today that can't afford big homes. And so I understand, we are hearing it, we hear it, and the developer, thank you for listening, because, you heard it not only from Coyote Ranch, you heard it from all of us, the whole thing with apartments. So I'm appreciative that you brought that number down, and I hope you actually go to a townhome product, but at least that number is down. But the parcel 5, we heard you loud and clear, and I want you all to know that are here, that are listening, that we read all of your emails. I know I try to get back to all of you, and if I missed some of you, I apologize. We listened to you. We brought that to the developer when we met with them, and they came in, they know that there was some frustration that they didn't come with actual changes to their proposed, plan, but they were really trying to listen to everyone and what their feedback was. So when they came to us, they were ready. They were like, no, we understand, we want to cut this, we're going to pull out the apartments, we're going to, increase the commercial C by an additional 45 feet, we're going to put limitations on there. So, they were really good. There was definitely a compromise. We listened to the community. We also listen to those that aren't in this room and those that don't live in Coyote Ranch. We also, being council members, we hear from the whole community, and we hear what the community is wanting at this time, and they want more on Pinell Avenue. I wish we can just pick and choose. I want Costco on this lot, and I want, Panera on that lot, whatever, but we can't. Jeff has owned this property for how many years? Okay, so 16 years, and he wasn't sure when he was going to be able to move, and I don't know if you told him this story, move forward on this project, but because of the infrastructure improvements that are going on McCartney, that can handle some of this growth, that as well as, Walmart coming forward, knowing that this intersection can meet the capacity of some of this development that's coming here. And he's also, and I don't know if anyone's told you or have told the group, that he's also going to be investing millions of dollars, I think 10 over a period of time, to bring the water infrastructure to this development. So again, it just doesn't just come. We can't just pick, exactly, what, he owns this land. And like you said, Bob, it's property rights too, but they want to be good neighbors. We want to listen to the community, the whole community, and we've been getting input from the whole community. So I just want to thank everyone that has been part of this process, that is our staff for being open and providing the changes, informing and educating people how the processes work. I want to thank the community. I hope you understand, you can see that the majority of us are in favor of this, but, I do feel that because of the changes where we are in the market, the location of this and what the community is looking for, this is a great site to bring this type of development. And I like Walmart. I don't know if you guys shop at, Walmart much, even for their home stuff. It's, I'm excited to have a new Walmart, and I know Jeff talked about the Walmart product that is looking to come into that location too, so, as well as some of the other amenities. So, again, I know we're not gonna make everyone happy here, but I really hope you just put yourself into, shoes of other people that live in apartments, that need smaller homes. They're good people. They're good, hardworking people that want to buy a home. And I think by taking that apartment piece out, this is giving people an option with it maybe a little bit of a smaller lot size to be able to purchase homes. So with that, I'll go ahead. Any other questions or concerns or questions? No. Okay. So I know we have to move on or vote. I think there's 2 items, right?
Yeah, there's 2
Where is
resolution numbers.
my sheet here? Where did I put it? Okay, so should we go ahead and start then with a resolution number? Okay, so we'll go ahead and start with the first resolution number.
Resolution number 5273.42, a resolution of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, adopting a minor amendment to the City of Casa Grande General Plan 2030 as adopted by resolution number 5273 as previously amended by changing the land use designation from neighborhoods to community corridor for approximately 43 acres of property generally located near the southeast corner of McCartney Road and Pinal Avenue, Casa Grande, Arizona.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I would move for approval of resolution number 5273.42 as presented.
Second?
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, if we can get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Ramo?
Yes.
Councilmember Dugan?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards?
Yes.
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Councilmember Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dillon?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Okay, now if we can get an ordinance number, please.
Ordinance number 1178.247.4. An ordinance of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, approving a major amendment to the villages at McCartney Ranch, PAD, for property generally located at the southeast corner of McCartney Road and Pinal Avenue, Casa Grande, Arizona, to add additional commercial uses and amend permitted residential uses.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move that we approve ordinance number 1178.247.4 as presented.
Second?
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this item? Okay, Adriana, if we can get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Ramo?
Yes.
Councilmember Dugan?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards?
Yes.
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Councilmember Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dillon?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Okay, so we're done there. Again, thank you everyone for your input and feedback here. We're going to go ahead and have our reports. So who would like to start? Becca? Sure. We can go ahead and start with Becca.
It's that exciting time of the year where our students are graduating from high school and then also promoting from 8th grade into high school. And I'm looking forward to this week. We're always super excited at Cactus as we celebrate our 8th graders and then also get to know our 6th graders coming in when they come to visit our campus. And then, of course, it's always exciting to see our seniors as they get ready to move on to that next transition in their life. And it's great because some of those kids I've known since elementary into middle into high school and just getting to see just how amazing they are. We have really great kids in our community, so that's just wonderful. I got to go to the Target soft opening, grand opening, I'm not sure what it was called, but that was amazing and a lot of fun. So that's all my reports.
Thank you. Do you want to wait just a second until people clear out?
No.
I know, sorry about that, Becca.
No, it's okay.
I'll go ahead and go.
You want to go?
No report.
I'll say everything I said again, don't worry.
No report.
I'll repeat. Okay, no report, no report. Okay. Let's clear it out. Anyone else no report?
No report.
Okay, no report. You were on vacation. Okay, good. Sean?
Sure. Yeah, I was with Becca and Lisa and Matt at the Target soft grand opening, or soft opening. That was amazing to see the store. Thank God Target's back in town. You know, it's going to be great to have another option for groceries and something on the other side of the freeway where I live. So that's
Exactly.
great. Also, I attended the unveiling at the for the artwork done at Palm Island Family Aquatic Center. That was really nice, really great picture. And if you guys get a chance to go over there, it's opening Saturday. This Saturday, maybe it's the 29th. Well, I can't remember. I think it's this weekend, this Saturday.
this
It's
weekend.
the
Okay.
Palm Creek's opening back up, yeah. And so as you go to the pool, go to the splash pads and all that kind of stuff, check out the new artwork that's been done over there. Looked amazing. We had a great artist do it. So,
Good. Thank you. Thank you for going to that too.
yeah.
Okay, Matt.
Yeah, we had youth commission interviews on Saturday, the day the parking lot was closed as well here. We had about 30 people. We had a bunch. We went until 1:30. And it was a lot of good interviews, great kids, and I want to thank Adriana and Yvonne from the clerk's office for helping me get all the papers together and advertising and getting us so many applicants. And again, the kids make all the decisions. I'm just there to turn on the lights and make sure that everything's going smoothly. And then I also want to thank Aidenary from Community Services and Danny's department. Did good and got pizza for the kids, so that was key to keep them going through the meeting. And she was very helpful in getting everything done. So I want to thank everybody for that. Got to attend the Chamber Community Outlook Luncheon with the legislators, Lopez, Martinez, and Senator Shope. And that was somewhat informative, and it was good to see. Yeah, I did. And so that was good to have them speak about what they're doing up there or not doing, as the case may be. So yeah, and then Target was fun. I got free oatmeal cream pie and a Red Bull. Pretty happy.
That's the reason why you went.
Yes.
Right. Well, thank you, guys. I actually wanted to start my report, and I didn't do it earlier, just with something very serious. And as we all know, one of our counterparts and friend, Dick Powell, passed away, as all of you know. And so, I just know the impact he made in my life, and as a mentor, and as a friend. I mean, we were probably, 40 years difference in age, maybe not 40, but few years, but I know I shouldn't say that. I'm not that young. But he really was just a true gentleman, and I've learned so much from him, and just he's just going to be missed. And so all of you that have know him, know how special he was. The services are going to be May 30th at Crossroads Church at 3:30 p.m. So, but I know. So many of you here, all of our staff too, have worked with Dick for so many years. So I just truly value him as a human being. And we also lost another, legend in our community. Bob Brutinel was 101 years old, a businessman in this community for many, many years, and worked until the day he got sick, just right before he passed away. He went to Brutinel Plumbing every day. The services were this past Saturday, and I go to a lot of funerals, and I was shocked. A 101-year-old had that big of a funeral. I mean, it was full, because it just showed the impact this man has made in so many generations, because there's so many young people that have, he taught, the plumbing business, and Becca was there too, at the services. So again, just a true gentleman and wonderful human being. So both of them will be missed. So as far as things going ahead, we have the summer months that are here, And, one of the concerns is our unsheltered population. And so, we've been working with the Unsheltered Person Action Committee and just wanted to let all the council member and the public know that, we do have a list of the hydration and cooling stations that is published, and we're going to be putting it on our website. But just so all of you know here, there's 4, 8, 12, 13 locations here in the city of Casa Grande, and it has all the different hours. CG Helps, which is the CARA, they're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. Transitional Living Recovery Center, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. CHIP, Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 7. Community, Casa Grande, wait, what's CAA? Community
Alliance?
Casa Grande Alliance, yes, Monday through Friday, St. Vincent de Paul, Casa Grande Municipal Court, pretty much all Monday through Friday, Casa Grande Library, Vista Grande Library, Casa Grande Fire, all of our fire departments, our hydration and cooling station, as well as the Pinal County Sheriff's Office. So they will have, water on site. We are also going to we're working on putting signage outside of all of these locations to show that they are hydration and cooling stations, so people know that they can come in to cool off, they can come in to get water. And then we are also in the process of trying to identify a location from when these close at 5, 6 to maybe 9 or 10 p.m. because we know we're not going to get an overnight shelter anytime soon. So we are also trying to identify, hopefully soon, a location that we can get that gap from 5 or 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. for the summer months. So just kind of wanted to keep everyone updated on what's happening.
Do the fire stations fill that niche? Will they?
Yeah, they're on there. Yeah, all the fire
But I
stations.
mean, those
Oh.
odd hours.
Oh, we can't talk about it. Sorry, we can't. We can't have discussion. We can talk about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but we're looking at a site that we might be able to do. So I just wanted to kind of give everyone, and we are also working on that the transitional living program with Horizon Health and the Boots and Saddle Hotel. We're going to have a study session in June to kind of keep everyone updated on what's happening with that program, with the transitional living program. So graduations, yes, it's so exciting time of year. A lot of graduations. I'll be attending Casa Grande Union, Vistas, Mission Heights, Casa Grande Middle Schools, but I went to the Casa Grande Union Scholarship Night, and I just wanted to thank all those organizations, which many of you on the council serve on these committees that give scholarships. And Casa Grande Union, they had total awards of $6,726,000 to their college seniors. And so obviously that's not just our groups here, but these universities. So it shows that the education that these kids are getting and the scholarships that they're getting to move on. So, and of course our Olin Sawyer, obviously received the largest, I think it was $445,000 scholarship to Duke University. So we're super proud of him, as well as so many of these other students. So congratulations to all of our seniors. Target, yes, it was awesome. And Becca, you didn't bring this up, and I didn't know, but your cousin is the one, and I didn't know this, that opens many of the Target stores. And so what was her name again? Lisa. How do I forget that? So how did I forget? But it was so neat because I think her story is that she worked for Target when they were open before, and she continued to work for Target and took on this role, and now she goes all over the country and opens Target stores. And so it was extra special for her because this is her hometown, and so it was just so nice meeting her, and it was just unbelievable. So if you haven't been to Target, please go to Target.
The first one to ever reopen.
To reopen.
Yes.
Yep.
The only one they've ever reopened.
So maybe she's the one that, helped get that. Yeah. So, great events. Nurses Day at Banner, again, so proud of our nurses. You have a nurse in your family and everything that they do. The Biz Outlook, legislative update, that was good. And then, you know, the Community Care Center with Casa Grande Elementary School District. That is the, we met that committee, and how they're going to allocate their $1.1 million congressional funding that they're getting, and they're opening this community care center. They even talked about putting washers and dryers because they know that it's something that the public really needs. So they're, you know, trying to strategize there. So with that, I think that's probably enough. So I'll go ahead and again, thank you everyone for your patience and being here, and everyone have a beautiful Memorial Day. Oh, Memorial Day service is at the Mountain View Cemetery this coming Monday. So if you can join us at 9 a.m., it's a great ceremony. So I welcome everyone to come and attend on Memorial Day at 9 a.m.